and welcome to Coffee with Cal with Learn International. I'm the intern Sheila at Learn International, and today we have Hannah. Hannah, how are you today?
I'm great.
Thanks for being here today. We really appreciate your time. And Hannah is a study abroad alum, and she's here to tell her story. For those of you who don't know, Cal is in Learn International's lovable mascot, and she travels everywhere we go. Coffee with Cal podcast is a podcast that aims to share and capture stories from students and from international educators. So Hannah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am just now a recent graduate of St. Mary the Woods College. We're still kind of wrapping up our finals, but for the most part, we're done. And I studied environmental science with a concentration in chemistry and a minor in equine science. And so a lot of those equine science classes that I did were sort of like pre-vet classes. And then we did our study abroad in 2018 in the first part of May, right after school let out. And we were there for about 15 days. And ours was equine industry within Ireland. So we went and we looked at kind of everything that you could possibly do, anything from riding to the science, to education, to just general like work that you can do, competing, training, things like that. And it was really cool. And I right now I am working. I'm doing environmental work. I do like invasive species treatment, and with like insecticides, pesticides. Making sure that like emerald ash borers don't, take out ash trees, things like that. And then I also do some design work.
Interesting. So you said that you did an equestrian studies study abroad program in Ireland. Can you tell us about your program? Get into detail about the academic part, the cultural part, some excursions that you did on. Tell us about your time in Ireland.
Yeah. So we had two professors go with us. One was Dr. Deborah Powell, and she is the main, she teaches all the science classes for the equine department at St. Mary's, because we have our own equine department there. And then we had Elaine Yaw, which was an art professor. She went with us, and so they made sure to supervise everything and help keep us on track. But we did, as far as the academics go, like we didn't have any coursework, but we did a lot of, we sat through a lot of lectures and did a lot of touring in all the different facilities. And then we had a lot of cultural excursions that we went on, which was really great. We had several days out of the 2 weeks that we were there that were specifically just to make sure that we got to immerse ourselves in the culture. Like we got to go to pubs. We toured Dublin for a couple of days. We were in Galway, where we stayed in a hostel. We stayed in a bed and breakfast for most of the time, kind of like in a centralized location. And then we were able to kind of move everywhere around the country from that point, and get everywhere we needed to go within a day easily. And sometimes we'd go 2 or 3 places, and we'd stop for lunch at local restaurants and things like that. It was really cool.
Sounds really interesting. It sounds like you got to do a lot of things, as in you moved around Ireland a lot. And
yeah.
Was there any specific excursion that you really enjoyed in Ireland?
Yeah, as far as the cultural side of things, I really loved Galway. And they said that that's considered the cultural capital, and it makes a lot of sense. If you go to Galway, it's awesome. Like you can walk right up to the ocean. There's all sorts of really cool old stores, and there's people everywhere, street performers, artists. It's really awesome. And then the Cliffs of Moher, that was a really big one. That was amazing. It was perfect weather, blue skies, clear day, just absolutely gorgeous. We wanted to spend the whole day there. And then we actually went horseback riding in the Slieve Bloom Mountains, and that was a highlight for everybody, I think. We got to trail ride for a good hour and a half, actually, through the forest and up to the top of the mountain, and you could see for miles, the rest of the mountain range. It was really beautiful. And probably as far as like industry places that we went, I really liked going to the jockey school and the polo club. Those were really cool. We got to actually watch polo and practice polo on like dummy horses. And at the jockey club, we got to ride like the jockey machines, and it's so hard. It's really, really hard to do. I don't know how they do it. It's awful.
Wow. Did you get to meet jockeys as well?
We got to meet the students in training.
Oh, wow. Did you compare and contrast kind of your guys' studies in the States compared to Ireland?
Yeah, for them it's very different. Like they have to have regular school, but then they kind of live at the jockey school for a certain amount of time. And I got this new kitten, and she's like destroying stuff.
No worries.
And they have to like have a certain academic standard, but then they also have to like maintain like physical standards as well. So they have to like meet almost like boot camp for the military. They have to like be able to do so many push-ups and run so much and weigh a certain amount. They have to like maintain a certain physique all through their studies. And then they have to, have their training regimen where they train on the machines and on the horses.
Well, it's very unique. I feel like with my studies, I had probably just a semester, maybe a semester and a summer where I had field experience. It seems like their field experience is very extensive and intermingled with their full-on academic experience.
It was really interesting.
That is interesting. So speaking of school, are you currently in school right now?
I have a few more finals that I have to finish up today and tomorrow, and then I'm done.
Done with your undergraduate degree?
Yep.
It's very exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that must have like a weight off your shoulders. I know you can't do much now for the climate right now with summer plans, but you must feel good to be done with studies right now.
Yeah. I want to take a brief break for a couple of years, and then I want to pursue my master's. And I'm considering 2 at the moment. I don't know if I'm going to narrow it down to 1 or if I'm going to go ahead and get both of them. I've one of them would be environmental policy and management. Okay. So essentially the next step in my bachelor's degree, and then I'm really interested in getting a master's in animal science as well.
Interesting. Well, I wish you all the best of luck, especially trying to narrow it down to where you want to go and what you want to specifically study. So that's pretty exciting. Can you tell me if your program in Ireland had any influence on the decisions you're making now after undergraduate?
Yeah, I would say that they do. Well, for one, I'm now wanting to, kind of maybe search for employment that would encourage me to be able to travel and reward that. And also not only like within the equine industry, in order to be really successful, you kind of have to travel around a lot. Like, you have these trainers that they'll travel all over the world. The people that are in the horse racing industry, they ship horses all over the world. There's like in Ireland, they're like the 3rd largest breeder of thoroughbreds, but a lot of people in Kentucky and all over the world send their thoroughbred babies over there to mature, and they call it like putting on bone. So they send them out into those, really lush Ireland pastures, and they let them mature and develop, and then they bring them back to start training. And it's just so interconnected nowadays. Obviously, we can, fly across the ocean, and it's good to be able to, not only be willing to do that, but want to actually pursue to do that, because I think there's a lot more success that you can attain if you're willing to travel, especially for extended periods of time.
That's great. I feel like you're making more marketable with your passion for wanting to travel with your job. It's great.
Yeah.
Could you tell me if you'd ever would want to go back to Ireland after your experience in Ireland?
I would drop everything right now if somebody handed me a plane ticket and they're like, "Hey, you want to go to Ireland?" I'm like, "Yeah, man."
Oh, that's great to hear.
It was such a good time. I loved it. It was so fun, and I learned so much. It was just awesome. And my some people at St. Mary's would like me to go back because they're going to go again. They were supposed to go this year, actually. Within like the next week, they were supposed to go, and for obvious reasons, they aren't. And so they're going to go next year, and some people want me to go, and I would really like to go, and I've talked to Learn International a little bit about it, and I would, finances pending and whatnot, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. Yeah, to have the opportunity to come back. Next, I would imagine the professors and Lauren would love to hear your insight on how to make the program better or what you love to keep it the same. So that'd be a great asset to have with Lauren, definitely. You mentioned that the program was canceled this year due to COVID-19. Could you tell me, I'm really interested in your industry. I mean, a lot of the news you hear how businesses are closing and just how much COVID-19 is affecting everyone's day-to-day life. How is it affecting your field and you today?
So it's kind of strange. A lot of the competitions and shows, anything like that, those have obviously been canceled because it's, large groups of people. Like we were supposed to go to the Kentucky 3-day event, which is a huge international eventing competition, and that's been I don't know when it's been rescheduled for.
Okay.
And I mean that's a big deal. People train all year for that. And then like horse races are canceled, and but like vet clinics, I think a lot of those have been emergency only. I know that there's a feed mill that I work with in Kentucky. And most of the like nutritionists and the office people, they're required to work from home right now, and they have to take precautions if they're going out to any of the thoroughbred farms in Lexington. And but on the flip side, horses, at least in my area, have been selling like hotcakes.
Interesting.
I don't know what it is. They've been selling, and they've quickly and for higher prices than usual. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe people are feeling the stimulus checks or something, but they've and it's been kind of consistent for the last few months. I mean, there's been a lot of horses come up for sale and being taken off the market really quick.
Wow. I mean, I have been following, or I've heard things in the news that a lot of families are adopting dogs right now just because people have the time to do that at home. They have the energy to train and just bring someone into their home right now. So it's interesting when you say that people are now purchasing horses. I mean, I can only imagine that everyone has time to be outside and enjoy the outdoors. So hopefully that's the big encouragement factor on if you have the money, let's get a new horse and enjoy outdoors time. That's just my knowledge to break it down, but that's always something good to hear, especially good to hear. Yeah. Well, Hannah, we really appreciate it, and we want to thank you for being here today on Coffee with Cal. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, we loved what you had to say. It's very interesting. Your studies is very interesting, and Learn just appreciates hearing about your program and your time in Ireland. You can find this episode with Hannah on Coffee with Cal at our YouTube channel. You can also find the links on our social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook with the hashtag LearnINTL. And we look forward to hearing more stories such as Hannah's. And as always, thanks so much. And we hope that you stay safe and well. Thanks a lot, Hannah. Have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Bye.